This story begins back in the mid-1970s when I was in high school and met this guy named Dano. He showed me his dad's 1930 Model A that his family used to ride back in the 1960s. And here it is in the same garage all these years later. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode, and thanks for watching. As you can see, there's a lot of dust, a lot of debris that has to be vacuumed out. Alright, let's go around the other way here. Actually, let's pop this open. Let's see what we got. See, some horns have been added, non-original. The rest of the motor seems to be complete. Alright, I have removed all of the head nuts. Got those done. The distributor nut has come out, but I cannot free that distributor out. So I have some work ahead of me. I'm going to try to bust the head out now. Actually, I'm going to have to get the coolant hose off first, and then see if I can carefully pry it off. Well, I finally got it off with a lot of effort. I was able to not only pull that head off. This is what's inside. Surprisingly, the cylinders look pretty good. This rear one might have some moisture in it. You can see a lot of carbon back there, a lot of oxidation on that piston. So this one that needs some attention. There's some corrosion here on that valve, which is pretty much deteriorated. Here's the motor that was under all of the different piles of charcoal. You see some other gauges here that I just happened to find here in the rubble. Let's take a look here. To clean that off, take a look. Well, today's adventure is to remove that motor using that cherry picker. Eventually, this motor over here has to go back into here. Okay, the radiator is out. I was able to get that out. A little bit of effort. There it is. It looks to be in great condition, at least on the outside. Don't know about the inside, but the fins on the inside and on the exterior here look in just excellent condition. So next, we're going to remove the shift lever, which is way up here. I got to get this thing out all the way down here, and we got some oily bolts to remove. So this whole top piece comes off. Okay, the motor is out. How did that happen? Well, there it is over there. Able to get that out. Got some little cricket friends here with us, joining us. But then what you do is you call your twin brother and your dad to help do it. See, you put them to work. You need that brush that you had. Here it is. So what we're doing now is prepping the good running engine for installation. So we're taking some of the parts off to make sure it can fit in there. So that's where we're at. Here we go. We got the motor back in. There we go. I know it's a used motor, but I know it runs. Thanks to my dad and brother for helping me out. That was awesome. Couldn't have done it without them. And we continue again in the next session. Key on, get that choke out. Let's see what it does. Okay, today's adventure is, we got some water leaks here and over here, so we're gonna have to replace the head gasket underneath the cylinder head. So that's today's adventure. Let's go over here and take another look. You can see there's a lot of moisture in there throughout on the gasket itself. You know, I drained a tank or drained the radiator before, but you can see it shouldn't be in this gasket at all. There's some around here. Okay, got the motor back in. Of course, it's running. I was able to put a new wiring harness in throughout, all the way up and around, and then also got a new head gasket put in. I got that completed. Rebuilt some of the part of the water pump. Got it all back together here, new hoses, clamps, and all of that. It's all back together. Was able to flush out the radiator, and then you'll notice the new old headlights. These are some of the original headlights that I found at a swap meet. Someone years ago had put in sealed beams. There was a modification kit that you could do to put those in, of course, but those aren't original, so I was able to get it all back to original. The quest continues. Still got some more work to do. My fuel system is not where it's supposed to be. I still got some problems not supplying enough fuel. So that's where we stand. Well, I dropped the oil pan out of the 30 Model A, and there's a lot of sludge in the bottom of that pan. A lot of stuff. Big chunks, that's a dent there, but there's still a lot of debris. It's black. Some sludge in there. So time to clean it out and get some fresh blood in it. Today's adventure is to remove the spindle so I can fix the Kingpin here. You can see it's very loose. So I need to remove all of this to access that and remove it. So I'm going to try to do that. Looks like it hasn't been replaced in decades, if ever. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, part 2, reassembly of the Kingpins for the 1930 Model A. Got my Kingpins back in now with new bushings by a professional. That was done locally. We're all set to go now. Let's put them back in. Okay, mission completed. Got the Kingpin in, got everything done there. Over here, and you can barely see it, but it's all done, ready for action. Here's the passenger seat out of the 1930 Model A Tudor. Pretty rough shape. This is the passenger seat, but the driver's seat is even worse. But my plan here is to first of all take it apart and start inspecting it and see how it's put together. Get it reupholstered somehow. Okay, here's the bottom of the passenger seat. It's in pretty good shape. Take the cover off, pull that back, put some new lining on it. After pulling the upholstery off of the driver's seat on the Model A, there's some big cracks in the wood, so I decided to glue excessively and put some clamps on it to continue to use the same frame. So we'll let that sit for a couple days, make sure it's nice and solid, and we'll give it a good cleaning and start over. Here's the driver's side seat frame. This is the one that I repaired, glued, clamped, put some of the pieces back in. I actually put in another bolt in here too to reinforce this big crack right through here. Cleaned it up, got all of that dirt and debris, dust, mouse droppings, all of that. Got it all clean and sanitized, and now ready to put the spring back in it, or on it eventually. Get remounted again, so that will go like that. Got to make some adjustments here to it. Here's a view of the covered Model A seat. I was able to put some burlap down, some foam, and then another layer of the white foam up here, staple it in, and I got a few more staples to put in, but overall it's ready to go, ready to put some fabric on. Okay, I was able to get some test fabric before I use the real stuff, and here we go. I was able to stretch it on over. Just a quick job, but at least gives me enough for a nice template or a pattern. So it looks pretty good. It's pretty firm. I was just able to quickly put in some quick tucks there, pleats I believe they call them. So we'll start experimenting now with cutting out the correct fabric and staple it on. And here's the completed product. Look at those babies. Look like brand new. Well, they're my first attempt at sewing up fabric, so not bad. They'll do. Okay, I was able to install the newly reupholstered seat. Here it is. Nothing fancy. It'll hold me over for now, but it fits good, feels good, and actually even smells good because of the fresh fabric in there and padding. So I'll put the other one in shortly over there, and we'll continue the quest. Okay, here's what I'm after here. Oh, the mouse droppings, getting it all vacuumed out. Pretty dirty stuff. But we'll get it cleaned up. Okay, with a wire brush and a vacuum, I was able to get most of the mouse droppings out. Cleaned it all out best I could. There's still some tin foil stuck in there, but big improvement. Even smells better now. I still got some more work to do. I'll clean it out some more and get some soap and water and something to neutralize it. But
It's a step in the right direction.
Okay, I'm back in the Model A again. Here's the back seat pan that I've cleaned, sterilized, brushed, vacuumed, just about everything I possibly could to clean it up. Picked up a can of this undercoating that a friend of mine had left me, so perfect for this kind of application. I will apply it and let you see what the results are. Okay, mission completed. Got it all painted. It's all done. Smells. I had my PPE, my respirator on, so and I did it outside too. With a nice breeze, but it's all sealed up. Let it dry for a few days, and then I'll put the original back seat back in. Okay, here's the top back seat. I was able to deodorize it and get most of the odor out. In fact, I don't smell any at all. It's been sitting about 6 months up in my attic during the winter. I thoroughly sanitized it. I'll put a list of things I've used on there. A lot of OxyClean, some vinegar, even a little bit of dish soap. I cleaned it out really well. And after some thorough cleaning, here's the rear seat, how it turned out. Now this is the bottom portion. Let me come around to the front a little bit. Some shadows here, but give you an idea. It cleaned up pretty well, but there's still some stains in it. But the thing is, it smells good. Got rid of all of the odors from the mouse turds and all kinds of other debris in there, dust, a lot of rust from the leaky roof. So we're going to put it in today and see how it looks. Okay, there's the top back seat installed. As you can see there, of course, got the pan all painted. We're ready for the bottom section. Okay, as you can see, I don't have the passenger seat in. Those are my little air fresheners up there, and they're actually, the odor they give off, or the scent we'll call it, is the new car smell. So actually it smells like a new car in here. So here we go. Here's the original seat back in. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad in comparison to what it was, but it is original. It is 90 years old. So there we go. Hey folks, Flathead Terry here again. I have a Model A horn that I picked up from a nice kind gentleman down in Mississippi, and it doesn't have any ooga in the ooga portion of it, and we're going to take it apart and take a look at it. But here's what I'm talking about. Okay, it kind of sounds like a duck to me. So what I'm going to do is move the battery out of the way and then start removing some of the mounting nuts here, so I can take it apart and take a look inside and see what we can find. All right, I've reassembled it. This is the original Spartan. There's a tag on here, but you can't read it, but it's an original Spartan horn. Even says it back here as well. So what we're going to do, let's connect it to a 6-volt battery and see what it sounds like. Ah, much better. Now I have my ooga back in my ooga horn. For those who are curious to see what's inside a Model A Spartan ooga horn, let's take a look. Basically, this back cover here is held on by just one screw. Take that out. Set that aside. Pop the cover straight off. And then here you go. It's basically a motor. Here's some brushes up here. Of course, got some coils over here. You got the armature here, and this thing basically will spin. And as it spins, of course, you can hear now the different noises coming out of the diaphragm as it hits that little peak on the motor wheel there too. So basically that's what's in here. Now also what I did is I installed some new wires. The old ones were all foobar. They were pretty bad. So I just soldered in some new ones, put some insulation in here, put a tie wrap in here to give it some kind of strain relief, a couple of them in here to make sure that it ever gets pulled. It'll hold without pulling it out. Then also this is encased in the chrome tubing that Model A's have, so you won't even see these wires. And then I'll also put on the correct connectors on here to connect to the existing wiring harness. So there you go, some bonus material. Taking a look at the inside of a original Spartan auger horn. Okay, today's adventure on the Model A. What we're going to do is we're going to install this kit. This is a safety fuse kit that connects the main power connection down here through a fuse, which is in this package here. You can barely see it, but it's in there. And you connect some of these wires to that wire, and basically magic happens, and it helps protect the rest of the circuitry throughout the car. Even though I got fresh wires throughout the whole system, it's good to always have safety first and have a little safety kit. So let's get that installed. Okay, in the kit, it actually has some instructions. Let's take a look here, see if I can unfold this. All right, safety first. Yeah, disconnect the battery. Yep, did that. Yeah, bolt this to that. Okay, then now with that thing, then that short will then remove. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, I got that. All right, here we go. Okay, some kind of magic happened. Both screw holes on the new fuse bracket actually lined up. What a miracle. Can't believe it. Usually those things don't. I always have to do some finagling, but not this time. Okay, so got that connected. Now onto the last step is connecting this wire over here, putting the nut back on and tightening it up. All right, success. Check it out. So basically the power comes in through here from the battery connection all the way through that little black wire over there, through the fuse, and then up through here into the wiring harness up to the switch. So we're protected. Yahoo! Well, I finally decided to put some new rubber on my Model A, and this is what just showed up at my doorstep. A couple of new tires, tubes, and now the challenge of installing them and getting rid of those old tires I have, and see if it rides a lot smoother, see if I can get some more miles on it. Okay, I've unwrapped the tires, I unwrapped the inner tubes, and now I put them inside each of the tires. As you can see, they're kind of tucked in here carefully. I used talcum powder, made sure there's just a bit of tire pressure or tube pressure in there, air pressure, whatever you want to call it. It's all in there, just enough to hold the tube in there securely, but still flexible enough to be able to fit on the rim. So today's project, we got 4 tires, and we're going to take off these old 60s Allstate tires that are real thumpers. You drive down the road and it just makes a lumber wagon feel like a Cadillac in comparison. So that's the goal. Let's see if I can get these off hard or easy. Check it out.
let's start by taking air out of the tire. Okay, well, you don't see any filming of me removing these old tires. I was able to get the old ones off and put the fresh tires on the front. But here's the old ones. I fought for hours, 4 hours, getting these old guys off. They are rusted, they're stiff. What a mess. It took me forever. So the only thing you missed was me swearing and throwing tools across the floor. But I was able to get those off. I have 2 freshies to put on now, so we're all good there. So let me show you how far I got after I took those tires off. I was able to, let's see if I can climb down here, able to paint several coats of paint on the rim itself and sand it down all the rust and any high spots. I do have the grommet that goes inside here. I'll put that in before I install the tire in the tube. So let's get started on that and finish it up. All right, let's put this on here.
Okay, I got some new tires on it. Let's see how smooth it is. I got the camera mounted as best I can for now, but let's go for a ride anyway. Hey subscribers and YouTubers, hey, where's my exhaust system? Well, and where's my muffler too? Hey, that's gone too. Well, decided to get a new exhaust system. First of all, the old manifold, you can kind of see here, was foobar. A lot of leaks through the different ports. It was all rotted away and corroded. So next I decided, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well get a new muffler as well. This thing has got a lot of pinholes in it, and it leaks everywhere, so it smells. It was held on by a wire, so that was some kind of modification later on in its life. But the good news is I have a new muffler and a new clamp and a new exhaust manifold. So I've already put that back together for later installation. So let's get started and get that installed. Okay, I got the new manifold in, reconnected the fuel line, connected the throttle and the choke lever as well. That's all done. I didn't snug them up too tight, like to get it hot, and then maybe take another little adjustment with the wrench on it, on those manifold bolts or nuts down here. Get those snugged up, but I like to let it warm up first and do that. So now onto the muffler. Okay, I have the bracket in the back of the muffler on the tailpipe connected, but now I need to connect this to the manifold. They did ship me in the kit a asbestos piece of fabric here that wraps around that manifold. So I'm going to try that. See if it fits, see how much wrangling I'm gonna have to do to get that to work. So let's check it out. Okay, with a lot of effort, I was able to single-handedly put that asbestos type material underneath the brackets. Was able to align it. I used my floor jack to hold the muffler up, which was very handy. So here we go, underneath and all the way back. So there's just a single clamp back there. Got that. So next is to fire it up, see how quiet it is. it's a lot quieter now. Nice exhaust on it. Looking good. Sounds good. Quiet. Hey subscribers and YouTubers. What in the world has Flathead Terry been up to here now? What in the world? So, back in episode 11, I had a radiator here and I had some overheating problems. I back flushed it through these little tubes here with an apparatus, and magic happened, and I could run for about a good 10 to 15 minutes, no problem. Well, the other day I decided to take it for a longer trip, and it overheated after about 15 to 18 minutes. So I decided to take the radiator out. Along the way, I thought, well, I might as well take the water pump out too. Had to use a little heat and persuasion to get that out. The studs, I'll replace those with bolts, put a new gasket in. You'll see the new water pump and fan assembly shortly as they put it back together. So let's get into this. I'll show you the radiator and what I did to it. Okay, here's the radiator, and what I did, if you can take a look down there, you can kind of see now the tubes are nice and clean. They were all plugged up or partially plugged up with different rust and other debris, and also a lot of the calcium and lime or deposits in there. So how did I get rid of all of that stuff? Well, the first thing I did was I got some of this oxalic acid from Home Depot. It comes in a powdered form. You mix it up with water. About a 3-to-1 ratio is what it says. So I ended up doing that, soaking it for several hours. The rust came out right away. Saw that almost immediately. So then I neutralized it with some diluted baking soda in a gallon jug and put that in there. Then what I ended up doing after that was getting this stuff. What in the world is this stuff? This is concrete and metal prep, Terry. Well, we ended up looking this up, and it's basically, if I can grab it here correctly, it's phosphoric acid. If you can see, that contains phosphoric acid. There we go. So same thing here is I diluted it 3-to-1 with water and let it soak inside the radiator for several hours, and you can see it foam up, and eventually it stopped foaming. That means it ate up all of the calcium or lime deposits that were in there, and then I flushed it again with water and used diluted baking soda. So good shape. I was able to test it with water, pumping it through, and it was able to keep up with the water hose that I put in from my house, no problem. So now we're going to take that and get it back in there and see how it works. Okay, as I mentioned before, I was able to take out the studs that were in there before. A couple of them came out pretty hard, but they were in here. Took these out, and then I will replace them when I put the water pump back in with bolts. Put those in instead. The reason why is because if you take a look over here, here's the water pump. Of course, it's the old water pump that didn't leak, believe it or not. But then also I was able to get the new aluminum fan blade and get that installed on there. Of course, the original one had a crack in it, and reviewing all of the online posts that people said these blades can break off if you use the original steel ones. So going to put that on, and then the other thing is, like I said, instead of a stud, I will use bolts, because in the future, if I ever take this pump out, it'll be a lot easier to pull it out of the motor. Just pull the radiator back a little bit, and I'll be able to pull this out if I have to replace any parts on it, that sort of thing. So let's get started on that. Okay, I also wanted to show you the installation of the new fan over here. You can see that. That's a new aluminum fan. You can see where I put new bolts in instead of the studs. So in case I have to service that, I can just pop out the bolts, move the radiator forward a little bit, and I can take it out. The studs being a little bit longer, you really have to move the radiator to get it out of the way so we can get that water pump out. But so far so good. I really don't see any leaks. I'm going to continue to look a little bit here more. Might have some down here a little bit. Let me take a look, see where that's coming from, if anything. But overall, I'm pretty happy about it. I don't see any other leaks along the hoses here. I have to hook the lights back up. but we'll go from there. Okay, just took it out for a little ride. Right now we're at about 164 on the dial there, right about there. So we're going to keep running it. I'm going to go around the block a few more times and check it out. Okay, just took it for yet another spin. Right now we're at about 176. You can barely see it in there, but it's about 176. I'm to 178. So I'm going to continue to monitor it. Okay, third time. Still took it around, put a little bit more on it, and let's see, we're back down to 170 again now. You can barely see it in there. Let me see if it'll focus. But it's right at 170 right in here, so that's really good. It did creep up before while it was idling, but once I took it for a ride now and came back, it went back down. So that's a really good sign. It's about 85 degrees out. So we might have success right now. So let me take you a quick little tour here. What I did while it's running. Yeah, there we go. Running really good. I don't see any leaks. Maybe you see some, but so far so good. Hey subscribers, YouTubers, how you doing? Well, I'm doing pretty well. I'm taking the Model A 1930 to its first car show right down the block. So ride along, let's check it out. Let's see what other Fords are there. Well, I made it. I was only a few blocks away, so it wasn't a problem.